standing as Brett Schisler with Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries offers tonight's invocation.
Would you please pray with me? Most loving and gracious God, we come to you tonight and we thank you. We thank you for this beautiful day and this opportunity to come together and to pray as free people. We thank you for the men and women all over the world that help to keep us free so that we can enjoy this night. Lord, we come to you also tonight and we ask for safety. We ask that you be with each and every one of the drivers, with all of the crews, with all of our fire safety workers, and with our world. It is in the strong and beautiful name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Madison McWilliams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of our bursting ignite gave room through the night. That our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
It's time. The drivers about to climb into their cars and get ready for 300 miles, 200 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway.
If you're battling it out, what's the limit? You know, how far do you go?
If you have the chance of making him, then you're going to do whatever it takes.
You got to attack. And if you can make an aggressive move and make it happen, you go for it.
Justin Allgaier wins at Chicagoland.
You've got to be on the offense to not put yourself in a spot that where you have to be desperate.
What a night for William Byron.
I say bring them on. I don't care who's in the race. I think we're going to have a shot at it.
It's all about winning a championship. It's win a championship. The rest really doesn't matter.
And in the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen on the racetrack. And with a full moon out tonight, that just makes all the craziness a little bit exponentially higher at this racetrack. We're going to find out a few of the storylines prior to the green flag flying and the engines getting fired. We go to pit road and Dave Burns.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy down here as well, Rick. And if you're in the playoffs like Brennan Poole, it's a great time to be running well at the mile-and-a-half tracks like Texas Motor Speedway. Last two, second at Kentucky and fifth at Kansas. A good sign for Brennan. Parker?
Well, Dave, Matt Tiff comes into this race 5 points below the cut line, and he's going to need to get stage points because 2 drivers are getting to the championship 4 via points. But to do that, he's going to have to score those stage points, and it's been tough for this team because they have not been able to get good starts to the races. He's starting third and hopes to be able to use one of the best cars all year to get those stage points.
After a late flat tire, Parker, for Cole Custer at Kansas, he finds himself 8 points below the cut line. Talking to Jeff Mannering, his crew chief, and Cole as well, they feel like those 8 points have to be made up tonight. He said Phoenix is a massive question mark for this team. We finished 21st there in the spring, and our short track program has not been the best. So a little pressure on this 19-year-old tonight, Rick, to make up those 8 points.
The one thing he has going for him is he currently leads all drivers in points earned on mile-and-a-half tracks this year. So Cole Custer has to lean on that tonight, being a mile-and-a-half track. This is only the second race on this configuration and the first time that the Xfinity Series will experience it under the lights. So it will definitely be a test for all of their talents tonight. Let's get the engines fired. We go trackside.
No Limits Texas here to give the command to start engines for tonight's race from Chris Muffler Service, Chris Newton.
Drivers, start your engines!
Fired up when you're ready there, bud. And forward.
The sweetest sound in racing. The engines come to life, the driver's strapped in. The green flag will fly when we come back to Texas. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ford. We go further so you can. And by Bank of America. Life better connected.
Reed looking for the checkers. He's going to get his second career victory at Daytona.
Oh my God, we're going to celebrate.
He finds an oasis in the desert.
What a night for William Byron.
William Byron wins at Indy. Cars rolling off of pit road, and we're going to let you know how they are lined up. Up front in row 1, winning the pole was Erik Jones. Cole Custer, one of the playoff drivers. He's been best on mile-and-a-half tracks this season. Back in row 2, Matt Tifft, another playoff driver. He's just 5 points below the cut line.
And right behind them in row 3, we have Elliot Sadler, the veteran, on a long winless streak, starting next to the youngster, Daniel Hemrick, in a backup car. Right behind them in row 4, we have Austin Dillon and Christopher Bell. Christopher got his first win in the last race at Kansas.
Back in row 5, there's William Byron. He'd love to make it 4 wins in 2017 and lock his way into Miami. Then in row 6, Brandon Jones and Brennan Poole. Brennan Poole, another one of the playoff drivers. He's from the Woodlands, Texas, which is just north of Houston, Texas.
In row 7, we have two-time winner in 2017, Justin Allgaier, started next to Ty Dillon. Then right behind them in row 8, Ryan Reed, who's the lowest qualified playoff driver starting tonight.
Jeff, you mentioned in row 7 that Justin Allgaier will be starting 13th. Let's see if we can chat with Justin Allgaier and see how he feels about this Texas race.
Well, hold on, Rick, 1 second. They're talking on the radio right now. I don't want to interrupt them. We'll give them a chance to stop talking. All right, let's give it a try. Justin, it's Burton in the booth. You with us?
Yeah, Jeff, go ahead, buddy.
Well, Bud, you got a 33-point advantage. What's your strategy going into tonight trying to get yourself to Miami Homestead?
Man, I think the biggest thing of tonight is his execution. You know, the 33 points is great, but that's not a gimme by any means. We got our work cut out for us to be able to make it to Homestead, but we've got a really good Negrete owner, Chevy. Really proud of these guys. Everybody at Junior Motorsports has done a great job all year, but especially this weekend, the car drives really well. We just need a little bit of speed qualifying, and I feel like, once this race plays out, we'll have the car and the speed that we need to hopefully work our way up towards the front and be there at the end.
Well, tell me about this reconfigured racetrack. Turn 1 looks like it's very difficult to me. Is it as hard as it looks?
Turn 1 is really interesting because it's super wide compared to what it used to be, but the lane that you run is very different than what we used to run. 3 and 4 is pretty similar. The bumps are starting to come back up in the racetrack a little bit, which is great for us because it allows us to kind of really feel where the grip's at and where it's not. So, we feel like it's getting to where it needs to be at. Once it starts to get a little bit bumpy, it'll start to widen out a little bit more. And, this place always provides good racing. It's really, really fast. And we're looking forward to tonight's race and many years to come here.
Well, Justin, thanks for letting us ride along with the helmet cam tonight. It's going to be fun watching. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hopefully everybody at home has a good time watching. It's cool to be able to carry this camera and hopefully provide some good views of us passing some cars in front of us here.
And that helmet was designed by Harper, his daughter. So helping out with the design of the helmet, Justin Allgaier will be one of our onboard cameras. He has the Chevrolet onboard. He'll start 13th tonight. In the 16, that's Ryan Reed with the Ford Performance onboard camera, and he will start 15th this evening. Cole Custer also has a camera on board. A Ford Performance onboard camera will start in the front row in that second position, and right next to him is Erik Jones with the Toyota onboard camera, who starts on the pole. Not only will we be all the way around the racetrack and in some of the cars, we'll be high atop this racetrack with our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. And Steve, you probably have one of the better seats in all of racing right there in pit stall 43.
Well, I love this seat, but now I have a guest as well. Otto Bola came and joined us here on top of the pit box at pit stall 43. And Otto, you and I were discussing the restart zone. It's a great view right here at the start of the race.
Yeah, we have one of the best views of the restart zone, but I think in 4 races that I've been to, I learned a lot about the sport. I'm not sure I'm 100% convinced about what the restart zone is just yet.
The simplest way to look at it is the leader, he's the guy that controls the race. Here at the start, the flagman will wave the green flag, but every other restart, the leader has to fire first, he has to accelerate first. As long as he does that inside that zone, it's a clean restart. A lot of games, though, will be playing that zone. Races are won and lost in the restart zone.
And again, what an impressive rebound for Daniel Hemrick. The 21, he wrecked that car in practice, the backup car. He comes out and gets a 6th place qualifying effort. This was the pep talk on the radio just moments ago.
All of y'all bust your tail, get this thing ready, did a great job at it. So overcame one thing, we can overcome whatever the night throws at us. Let's have a good one. Everybody pit road, stay safe. We'll see you here about 45 and go have some fun.
And surprisingly, it's the first time he's ever had to get in a backup car in the Xfinity Series. Again, 2x2. Green flag in the air, racing at Texas.
You heard Justin Allgaier talk about this turn 1, how flat it is. The first time these cars have been side by side in this corner.
And so far it looks like they're all going to make it through 1 and 2 as they come up to speed, rocketing down the backstretch in front of Big Hoss, the biggest HD television in the world. And very close call there. The 22 of Ryan Blaney cut down through 3 and 4 just in front of another car. And already there's take. Not a lot of give, but a lot of take. Cole Custer falls back another spot.
See Cole Custer very loose in the middle of the corner trying to make pace on the top of the racetrack, and they're still lined up underneath him.
Riding along with Cole Custer, and look at this, another car going by, and that's the 2 of Austin Dillon. There goes William Byron in the 9. Cole Custer just trying to find some asphalt around this racetrack that he can get some traction.
He's so loose on the top of the racetrack, he just could not carry speed and keep his momentum. Now he's trying to find a hole behind the 33 car. Is not going to be able to do it. Just look, there's no grip on the outside, Rick.
Wow, he is so loose. You can see that, Jeff. And that's one thing that a lot of people learned in the Truck Series race last night is that the outside could work on a restart, Jeff. But you had a very limited window to get that done. You had to get down to the bottom within a lap or two, but Cole couldn't even make that happen. That's how loose that 00 is after a fantastic start to the weekend.
You know, one thing I'm impressed with, though, Marty, at only 19 years old, Jeff, he didn't panic. He was completely out of the groove, completely out of control. It is under attack again from the 3 right here at Ty Dillon, but he very calmly got the car to the bottom of the racetrack. That's something that you normally could see an inexperienced driver make a mistake. Cole Custer did not. He didn't panic, and he kind of stopped the bleeding and got to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, Steve, he went all the way to 8th in one lap and then all the way to 15th in the next lap. So, but look how loose he is. He is still completely out of control. He even looks loose going through the trial in the front straightaway. Look, this car is just completely out of control right now. You can see as he drives into turn 1 already before he even got to the corner. You can see Jeff, the back of the car moving around. And yeah, I think he does have a problem.
Yeah, he just said on the radio, he said, I can't do anything. Something's got to be wrong in this car. And it's funny, Jeff Mannering, or not funny, but Jeff Mannering, his crew chief, was just talking about what a fantastic weekend and a smooth weekend it had been for Cole Custer and his team. But the car is not supposed to do that, just darting around like that, is it, Jeff?
No, you can even see it on this trial. You can see how free the car is, back of the car is moving around a lot. Just a minute ago, I saw the front brake rotors glowing red. He's trying to slow the car down so much.
This is where the radio is so important, though, Jeff. Jeff Mendering, the crew chief of Cole Custer, needs to get on the radio, calm his driver down, tell him there may be a problem, but, buddy, I need you to get me to a caution. I can't do anything with a wrecked race car. I can't do anything under green. So, Cole Custer, it doesn't drive good, it doesn't look good, but I need your help.
And he has been...
I don't know if we have a flat or what.
You hear him talking about if there's a flat, but look at his hands.
Back inside with 2 of them now, big hole.
Yeah, he
coming
is just,
now, inside.
He is just has a handful right now.
A handful, and cars were flying by him. So he has fallen all the way down to 22nd now.
Well, he's a solid. I mean, he's almost 2 seconds off the pace of the leader. So, you know, from the seat he's sitting in, there's no way you could think the car is handling that poorly without something causing it. You almost have to believe he has a tire down or he has something wrong.
And Jeff, remember we mentioned it just a moment ago. They really felt like this weekend was a weekend they had to gain the points. A mile and a half is where the Cole Custer and this 00 team have been so strong all year long. Phoenix is a big question mark. They've struggled on the short tracks. They finished 21st there in March. So looks like they're going to have to come to pit road here early. Possible flat tire for this 00 team.
That's how quickly things happen at Texas. Cole Custer, who started up front, fell all the way back to 22nd, and now he's on pit road as he continues to fall down the scoring pylon, and around goes the 3. Ty Dillon spins and the caution comes out.
Well, unfortunately, the 00 had lost so much ground on the racetrack because he had gotten so slow. He did get lapped. It looks like he'll be able to pit put on 4 tires, but only lose 1 lap.
Well, Jeff, and we have to see, though, he might be the first car scored 1 lap down at the time of yellow. This might actually be a huge break, and he'll get the free pass. We'll have to see who NASCAR awards it to. But as you said, good break, bad break. He got the opportunity to come to pit road. This caution might actually save his lap if he can be the free pass car.
And Steve Jeff Mannering did ask Eddie DeHaan, the veteran spotter, where is the leader? He said turn 1, then he said pit. He could have chosen to go through pit road, but they did decide to come and pit the car indeed while he was on pit road here. So that's a veteran move by the spotter and the crew chief to find out where the leader was. Indeed, they should be the first car 1 lap down in theory.
The other thing that worked out is we're going to take a look at what happened with the 3 of Ty Dillon. Apparently Spencer Gallagher involved in the 23. Was on the inside of that 3.
Yeah, it's hard to say from that view. I don't know if there was contact prior. It's hard to tell from that view. Right here, he's all the way around, so.
And Jeff, actually, he came across radio and was reporting that car is really loose. I'm hearing that from a lot of cars out there, not just Cole Custers we watched there who may have had an issue, but a lot of cars struggling with rear grip, which this racetrack historically does at night. It really loosens up because the race cars gain a lot of that front end grip, and that might have been what caught the 3 off guard.
We'll get the lucky dog next time, and we'll go back to work.
The other thing that pays off for the 00 is he was actually on pit road prior to the caution coming out because they close pit road the second the caution lights come out, but luckily he was already on pit road. Marty?
Hey, Rick, there was a puncture in the right rear tire for Cole Custer, just 11 pounds of air in that tire, so it was indeed a tire going flat for Cole Custer. The right rear had just 11 pounds of air.
And so Cole Custer will go back out, and we're still waiting to hear from NASCAR if he will get the free pass.
Jeff, you always talk about moments, though, and we don't know when these moments are going to be. This could be the moment. If we get to Miami and we see Cole Custer racing for a championship, we can look back to Texas and riding a flat right rear tire out for 10 laps without wrecking the race car. That could have been Cole Custer's moment to race for a championship.
That's exactly right, and you were talking about it when it was going on. You know, just don't take a bad situation and make it worse, and that's what he did not do. All he could do is run the car as fast as it would go, not wreck it. That was his job at that point, and he did his job. And little things matter. And it sounds easy, right? Hey, just don't wreck the race car. Well, when they're flying by you, it's very difficult not to push too hard.
And so, with pit road open, the front runners decide not to come to pit road only 11 laps into this race. NASCAR Drive is NASCAR.com's live race day companion, now available on your mobile device. Never miss a lap with NASCAR Drive. Visit NASCAR.com/drive from your PC, tablet, or mobile device. We mentioned it's a full moon, and already it affects the 00 of Cole Custer as the field approaches the Geico restart zone right in front of Steve. Big left-hand turn right as soon as the 20 of Erik Jones cleared that 19 of Matt Tifft. And here comes Elliott Sadler in the 1. He'll take the second spot away.
Matt Tifft wisely went all the way to the bottom of the racetrack to block and make sure no one else got underneath him.
Way up the racetrack goes the 2. Austin Dillon losing spots. Here comes Daniel Hemrick in the 21.
48 of Brennan Poole. I thought was going to spin out Daniel Hemrick.
Just outside of him, Justin Allgaier in the 7. Allgaier. And there, Brennan Poole right next to Ryan Reed as we're riding along with Ryan Reed and the Ford Performance on board.
And look at the difference in these two corners as you drive into turn 3. Much more banking in the corners, much more grip. Listen to the throttle, how aggressive they are in the throttle. And as they drive into turn 1, pay attention to the difference. They don't want to be side by side in turn 1. There is very little grip. Listen to the throttle. All the way down to 155 miles per hour.
And hard on the brakes.
Hard on the brakes. And a little update on Cole Custer. He was not the free pass. The free pass went to John Jackson. So Cole Custer currently is the first car 1 lap down. Gets a caution, he'll get his lap back.
And that's because at the time of yellow, instantaneously, Jeff, is when the free pass car is determined. When the yellow was out, Cole Custer was on pit road and he was in the process of getting ready to lose a lap, but he had yet to be lapped. So as silly as this sounds, he's basically the tail of the lead lap cars. The yellow comes out, the free pass is awarded, and then moments after that, as the leader picks up the pace car, it laps the 00 of Cole Custer. It's a little confusing, but that's the rule and it's crystal clear. It's exactly when the moment comes out, the free pass is awarded. Cole Custer was yet to be a lap down at that point.
So he wasn't even eligible for the free pass because he was still on the lead lap. 18 laps into this 200-lap race, but again, the first stage is only 45 laps, 28 laps to go in that. And you can already tell the 00 so much better handling for Cole Custer. We saw it looked like he was swatting flies in there. His hands were moving so much on that wheel.
And Jeff, you talked about it. We know in 27 laps the yellow is going to come out as we see Kyle Larson in the 42 overtake that 9, that white number 9 of William Byron. So now Cole Custer is just race management, right? Don't do any more damage. Get to that point. Try to get close enough to the leaders that as they lap other cars, right, he continues to be in that free pass position.
Then that's going to be the challenge for Cole Custer. The leader of Erik Jones is so fast that he's catching, the cars running in 24th, 25th. He's catching them well over a second and a half a lap. So he's going to need a caution relatively quickly, or Erik Jones will start putting other people a lap down, and now they become the first car lap down, and Cole Custer isn't eligible to get that lap back.
Erik Jones already a half a second over the 1 of Elliott Sadler. Elliott Sadler is the highest running playoff driver right now in that second spot. Matt Tifft running 3rd. Kyle Larson is 4th. William Byron has moved up to 5th.
And how about Matt Tifft? Matt Tifft, at the beginning of the year, they just didn't quite have it together. They didn't have the speed. They weren't getting the finishes. But, since these playoffs started, he's finished 9th, 6th, 9th, and 8th in the playoffs. So nice job by Matt Tifft, maturing. He's a young race car driver, 21 years old, and everybody just thinks, hey, you're supposed to get in these race cars and immediately win races. It's not that easy. So good job by Matt Tifft of improving all year long.
Again, the 42. Kyle Larson currently running in the 4th position. Back behind him, the 16 of Ryan Reed running 11th right now. Let's listen in on spotter communication from Ryan.
Yeah, 10-4, excuse me, we were center off. Just doesn't mean to buy learning from it. Just back up like you're doing 3. Keep an air on the nose. Focus on that center drive off. You're really good off of 2, even with our balance compared to everybody else.
That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Dave.
And Rick, speaking of spotter coverage, one thing they wanted Ryan to be reminded of is how to go after the race tonight. Remember that great battle we saw at Charlotte between him and the 62 of Brennan Gaughan to get into the round of 8? Well, they reminded him before the green, I want you scratching and clawing for everything you can get tonight, and we'll do the same down here in the pits.
Ryan Reed trying to become one of the 4 that have a shot at the championship in Miami. Points so important every single race, and Ryan Reed coming into this one 6 points behind the cut line, or 6 points behind Brennan Poole. Justin Allgaier, another driver fighting for a win and a secured spot in the championship 4. He came into this race 33 points above the cut line as we ride along with the visor cam, the helmet cam for Justin Allgaier.
Rick, we're getting spoiled by this shot. We've had it now for a couple months, few months, and it's just awesome to see what these drivers do. This is really what it looks like. Unbelievable shot. Once again, we're going to talk about this long front straightaway and how difficult turn 1 is. And look, nowhere near the wall. See it nowhere close to the wall because you've got to get to the bottom. And if you get out there by the wall, it's such a sharp turn to get there. Tight battle here.
Wow, really had to get out of the gas there. Almost was in the back of the 2. And this is, the lead has tightened up. Erik Jones in the 20, trying to hold off the 1 of Elliott Sadler. I think the surprise of the year is that Elliott Sadler hasn't won a race yet this year.
And if you're Elliott Sadler in Junior Motorsports, this is, you want to be able to take the fight to the Joe Gibbs Toyotas. That's what you need to do. That's what you want to do. They've been the hallmark in the Xfinity Series. If you want to take the big dog down, it is Joe Gibbs and their Xfinity program.
Little tight, center off of 2. Good 3 and 4.
Well, Jeff, and I'll take that conversation with Elliott Sadler one farther. Not just the Joe Gibbs Toyotas, but his own teammates. In the pre-race show, I had this conversation with Kyle Petty. Everyone feels there's going to be 2, if not 3, Junior Motorsports cars in Miami. And I said it then that I thought William Byron had the advantage because I thought he was the one that had the firepower to win. Elliott Sadler on a 36-race winless streak, while his last win in 2016 did come in 1.5 miles in Kentucky. I think it's important for Elliott Sadler to get a win before Miami to kind of reconvince this team that they can win when they get to Miami.
And guys, it's not surprising me to see Elliott Sadler kind of tracking down that 20 car of Erik Jones. Erik's been fighting a tight condition off the corners and also just came across the radio recently and said that car was out of the racetrack. So you see the 1 car gains a lot as he tries to pass traffic there. Another thing to note, you might see the sponsor on that 20 car is Call of Duty. He was playing that just before this race. We got a battle for the lead, guys.
Parker, Elliott Sadler looked to the high side, was trying to get by Erik Jones. We had seen Erik Jones pull out to almost a 0.6 of a second lead, and then all of a sudden, going by lapped cars, the 20 got caught by the 1.
Well, you can see that no one wants to get in that second groove. So if you don't want to get in that second groove and you catch a lap car, you're hesitant to just jump up on the outside of them. So this won't be the last time we see lap cars interfere with the leaders and create a race for the lead or for 5th or 6th. You're just terrified to get out of the groove right now.
Well, Jeff, isn't this the whole idea of this reconfiguration? We're going to make the 2 ends of the racetrack very different. Try to give you at least one end of the racetrack to have an advantage. But how about Erik Jones? He was protecting the bottom, wasn't he? There was no way Elliott Sadler was getting underneath him going into turn 1. He was 2, maybe 3 lanes off the wall heading down the front stretch.
And through 3 and 4, they're able to take that second line as they go by the lap traffic. And we continue to talk about lap traffic. That's bad news for Cole Custer because, as you had mentioned earlier, every car that Erik Jones goes by and puts a lap down, now Cole Custer has to race them to try to get into the free pass position. And right now, he's the 3rd car scored a lap down, Marty.
And Rick, for these guys, he's trying to get to that free pass position. But you think about what this team has been through at the end of the Kansas race. They had a flat right rear tire just like tonight. They lost 12 points in that exchange. Tonight, in this exchange, the first 8 laps here at Texas, he lost 34 points. So, Steve, that's 46 points that this team lost in just 11 laps of competition thanks to 2 flat right rear tires. You never know where the moment's going to happen, do you?
No, you never do, but all you can do is look ahead, and I think that's the key right there. As we see on the right side of the screen, the 42 clears the one of Elliott Sadler. He's going to try to take the fight up to Erik Jones in that 20 car, but you pointed it out, and that's what makes auto racing so difficult, is it's not just man versus man. It's man and machine versus man and machine, Jeff, and you know as well as I do how frustrating it can be. How about just Kyle Larson being eliminated from the Cup playoffs at Kansas when the machine lets you down?
Oh, that's very difficult. And then, Kyle Larson just made that move on Elliott Sadler, but it was because of Elliott Sadler's fear of running the outside. He jumped on the outside of a lap car, and he just started crawling. He was, there was no grip up there, and Kyle Larson was coming with a high rate of speed and got by him. Well, watch right here. A little while ago, Elliott Sadler jumped up on the outside of Erik Jones. In Michigan, you make this pass. You drive in there and you hope for the best, but Elliott Sadler's want nothing to do with it. He says, I'm going to get back on the bottom. I'm going to give that spot back up.
So the gap now closed once again between Erik Jones and his closest competitor, which is now Kyle Larson, inside of 0.3 of a second behind him. Catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. You can get closer with alternate camera angles, driver stats, and track information. You can get it anytime, anywhere. Justin Allgaier riding along right on his helmet, and he's currently in the 8th position. The battle for the lead has stayed about the same, right around 0.3 of a second separating the top two. That's Erik Jones and Kyle Larson. Now they have a 2-second lead over Elliott Sadler, who's running 3rd, and just 4 laps to go until the end of stage 1.
Erik, you bring up 4 laps to the end of stage 1. That's one thing. I'm back here on top of the pit box. That's the biggest change since the last time I was down here actually calling races, is you have these guaranteed breaks, these guaranteed yellows. We're only 4 laps away from the next one, and not only is a guaranteed break for your strategy, for your fuel windows, but those points that are awarded. We have seen that completely change the complexion of who advances through the playoffs and who does not. If you look at someone like Cole Custer, who's had trouble, he knows this yellow is coming. Jeff Mendering can take that into consideration when he looks at his strategy. And as I say this, the 16 looks like he's been in the wall, some sparks. Maybe he has a flat right rear tire. It's hard to see.
Yeah, smoke and sparks. And there's another playoff driver who's been early here at Texas. Just 3 laps to go. He was running 11th at the time, and you see the right front tire is down. Dave.
Into the pits now, in playoff position, but this is not good. Got into the wall for sure. They will go to the right side here. Just 2 laps before the stage end for Ryan Reed. Remember, they told him to be aggressive tonight. I'm not sure exactly what happened. They're going to try to make sure the right front is okay before they put that new tire on.
Yeah, the other thing that he's got to deal with now is he was not on pit road before it was closed. It closes 2 laps before the stage ends, and so he came onto pit road when pit road was closed, so he'll have a penalty that he'll have to serve for that as well. The final lap of stage 1, it's Erik Jones. He's been out front all 44 laps and trying to hang on as Kyle Larson behind him now has fallen back to about 0.7 of a second, but this one has been all Erik Jones. He will win stage 1 at Texas.
Yeah, our playoff guys, there's Elliott Sadler finishing 3rd. He was the highest playoff contender at the end of this stage. Matt Tift, William Byron, Brennan Poole, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Hemrick.
And again, 2 laps before the end of the stage, they closed pit road. And it just so happened that that was when Ryan Reed was coming to pit road. Because of that right front tire that was down, we saw the sparks. So unfortunate as he made contact right there in the tri-oval. End of stage 1, and it is Erik Jones, Kyle Larson 1 and 2, and then playoff driver Elliott Sadler was able to get 3rd in that first stage. Ryan Blaney was 4th, and Matt Tift a top 5 finish in stage 1. Steve.
So, Rick, what we're going to do is take this opportunity. Since I'm on pit road, I'm right here next to Elliott Sadler in the 1 car. I'm basically going to play crew chief for Elliott Sadler. You're going to hear what Kevin Mendering needs to do to get his car into the pit box. So right here, you see Elliott Sadler. I've told him to pit. He's taking a left-hand turn. He's on pit road, and at this point, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You stop right on the sign. I normally wouldn't be talking, but we're going to go through their pit stop. The right side looks very clean, very efficient. The tire changes leave with the jack. That's what you like to see. Now it's about the left side, little slow in the left rear. You saw the exchange. Now Mendering's going to say clear, clear. He's clear all the way to the grass. It's as simple as that. Crew chief's responsibility on a pit stop. Marty?
All the way at the other end, pit stall number 1 is where Kyle Larson is. An impressive run for him up to second, Steve. I think they could maybe use a little bit of setup help. You see Erik Jones leaving his stall. For Larson, he said he needs turn in 1 and 2. It's too tight there. He said it's too free in 3 and 4. So several adjustments. Larson loses 2 spots here on pit road, but +6 for William Byron after changing just 2 tires, Rick.
Yeah, we got to look at that. That's a gamble early on for young William Byron. A 2-tire stop on this newly reconfigured racetrack and newly repaved. You're watching the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 from Texas Motor Speedway. Stage 1 is complete. Playoff drivers gaining valuable points. Elliott Sadler, Matt Tiff, William Byron, Brennan Poole, Justin Allgaier, and Daniel Hemrick getting an all-important 1 point there in Stage 1. Let's go down to the Toyota Camry on-track car with Otto Bolden.
I don't think I'll ever look at this car again now that I've gotten a chance to actually drive it. But I wanted to ask Jeff, one of the things that I felt piloting this thing today is that it seems to be very front biased in terms of the weight. All the weight's in the front, doesn't seem to have a lot of weight in the back. Talk about the challenges maybe of getting this car around this track with having so much power in the back and so little weight in the trunk.
Yeah, well, there is a tremendous amount of power in these race cars. There's no doubt about that. But Otto, in the frame rails, there's ballast that you can move around. So it's probably 53% of nose weight. So it's not as much as you would think. It looks like all the weight's in the front. The engine is in the front. But with that ballast in the frame rails, you can get biased the way you want it.
Free pass went to the 4. And the field approaching the Geico restart zone. William Byron taking just 2 right side tires. Erik Jones on the outside. We'll see if William Byron can stay out front and how important that clean air will be. Here comes Elliott Sadler as well. That outside line not working for Erik Jones. And what a run he made as they come out of turn 2. And Erik Jones able to get by the one on the outside. Kyle Larson drops back to 3rd, but it's now William Byron. Let's see what he can do with the clean air out front.
Another little strategy call right here, Rick. That 0-0. Cole Custer chose not to come to pit road. Took the wave by. He's now back on the lead lap, but he only has about 25 laps of fuel left in that car, so we expect to see the 0-0 on pit road somewhere between laps 75 and 80.
Steve, another strategy call, William Byron with the right side tires, although Erik Jones is trying to get that lead back from William Byron. We saw this in the Truck Series race last night. We saw some teams go right, left, right with tires, and then we saw the winner, Johnny Sauter, take no tires on the last stop, Rick. So maybe this strategy will work for William Byron with the lead. Nice little battle back in the field as well, where Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney are battling it out.
Yeah, they've both been able to get by the one of Elliott Sadler. That is the battle for 3rd on the right side of your screen. In the lead on the left, William Byron. We saw sparks coming out the right side. Is that exhaust or side skirt?
It's just side skirts dragging, just a little bit of low air pressure. Just said he put 2 right side tires on, so the low air pressures are just letting the car travel a little bit more. It's hit the side skirt.
And Erik Jones continuing to run right in the tire tracks of William Byron. Byron, the 19-year-old, has already been tabbed as the driver for Hendrick Motorsports in 2018.
And Jeff, it's interesting. What do you think about this call by the 9? I really like Dave Ellen's aggressive nature. He was running 7th, having an okay night, but he's calling the race not like it's a must-win, but aggressive. Maybe a little pre-planning for Miami, while the strategies will be different as we have a caution on the racetrack.
Cautions come out on the backstretch.
That's a huge break for that 0-0, Rick. A huge break for Cole Custer, who took the wave around.
Angela Bruck.
A lot of left front damage. Your left front tire is down, so just take it easy coming back.
Looks like the right side tires are both down as well, and the reason for the caution, this is the 3rd caution of the night. Flash back to what just took place.
Well, you can see on the exit of the corner, just car came around just too free and was not able to maintain control. Contact with the inside wall, heavy contact.
So that brings the caution out, and is that a good thing now for the 0-0 of Cole Custer? Marty.
Massively good thing for that team. In fact, Eddie DeHaan, the veteran spotter, just said you make sure you send a Christmas card to that 78 car. They were about 8 laps, 10 laps from having to stop for Cole Custer under green. So a huge break for him. Keep an eye on those points. Minus 30 right now. Now that he's back on the lead lap, they'll pit here, be in the same sequence with everybody else. So a massive break for Cole Custer, and it could be a championship-worthy break as well.
So, Steve, I've got a question for you. What do you do here? Do you put a set of tires on right here, or do you save them? I think you have enough tires to come in and put tires on, don't you?
I believe, these guys had 5 sets of tires to run the race, so I think tire count, why that is normally a major conversation point in the Xfinity Series, Goodyear's brought such a durable tire for this repave that I don't think they're going to use all the tires they've been allotted. This is very rare, so it couldn't have been a better issue or a better racetrack for the 0-0 to have an issue. I think you come in, put 4 tires, fuel it up, and now basically you run the race from this position.
So everyone was on pit road at lap 48 just after the end of stage 1, and now the 0-0 as well as the 4 of Ross Chastain coming to pit road for service. But a huge break for Cole Custer, who had a flat tire to start the race, a punctured tire, and so it put him a lap down. They chose not to come to pit road during the stage 1 break, as they're now in front of you, Marty.
And Rick, an easy call for Jeff Manring. I know we were debating it, but this will still leave them 3 sets of tires here with the 0-0. Plenty to play with for the rest of the race. And the thing to keep in mind, too, Custer's been pretty quick on the racetrack as well. You saw that left side wedge adjustment, just a little bit too tight, but that's the only complaint from him. So we'll see what the young 19-year-old can do now, Rick.
8 championship drivers contending, their average age 26. Cole Custer, one of those. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, and by Toyota. Let's go places. Beautiful shot of Texas Motor Speedway under the lights. Our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Coming into this race, Cole Custer was the lowest scored of the 8 drivers in the round of 8, Steve.
Well, Rick, it has been an eventful night, and it started very early for Cole Custer, who does a miraculous job behind the wheel of saving this car. Look at the corrections to the right. He has a problem, comes to pit road. It ends up being a flat right rear tire, but as he's coming to pit road, the 3 spins out. We thought he might have the free pass, but look right here. Cole Custer's on pit road. Erik Jones is on the racetrack. Cole Custer had yet to be lapped. Therefore, he wasn't awarded the free pass, but then some very clever work by Jeff Mendering on top of the pit box. He stays out, takes the wave around, gets this caution. Very exciting, but the simple fact now, Rick, is he's 19th, he's back on cycle, and now he has a new race, 31 laps left in stage 2.
He scored 19th right now, as you mentioned. Parker?
Hey, guys, just keep an eye on that 20 car and the 22 behind him. They've worked a deal to maybe get a push here, as we saw Erik Jones struggle on that outside lane on the last restart.
Coming into the restart zone once again, William Byron, the lead car. He sets the pace, and a great acceleration on the outside in the 20 of Erik Jones. Let's see if he can hang on to it as they go into the relatively flat 1 and 2. 20 degrees of banking, and Erik Jones making that outside line work. He's side by side for the lead. Here comes William Byron once again in the 9. And around goes the 33. Hard contact on the inside wall. Caution comes out. Brandon Jones, and you see the damage to that car.
Wow, that's the entire radiator is hanging out of the front of the race car. All got stacked up off turn 2, and 4 wide's not going to work.
Looks like Mike Lynette in the 5. Might have been some contact there.
Yeah, I think there was definitely contact there. Racing for 9th position.
So heavy damage to the 33. Safety crew already there and attending to Brandon Jones.
This year can't get over soon enough for Brandon Jones. He came into it so optimistic, felt good about his opportunities, and it just, you know, every race something happens to this team, this driver.
Started 11th tonight, the 20-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia. Another ending early for Brandon Jones.
This is when a young man's just got to keep picking himself up, going to the racetrack. So you can see right there, it's just so many cars in one spot, and that's all because big impact. It's all because of the troubles in turns 1 and 2. There's so little grip there that somebody has a problem. They bottle everybody up. They end up 3 wide. Somebody doesn't have the momentum another guy has. Next thing you know, you're 3 or 4 wide. Things happen quickly. There's contact. But it all starts because the redesign of 1 and 2. That was the idea. Not to have wrecks, but to have people that have trouble. If your car doesn't handle as well as somebody else's, then the guy behind you, has an opportunity to pass you. But on these restarts where everybody is so aggressive, you don't have time to slow down and wait. You just got to go. And it was just everybody piling up because people were losing momentum.
This, once again, as you mentioned, this season can't get over soon enough. It's the 7th DNF of 2017. He had never had a DNF prior in his career to this year, but already this is number 7. And Jeff, you mentioned the track changes in 1 and 2. Let's dive into that a little bit more about what they did to this track.
Well, they learned something at Kentucky. Changed both ends of the racetrack. It was 24 degrees in 1 and 2. They lowered it to 20 degrees. Again, to make the one end of the racetrack different than the other, to create passing opportunities. But when they did that, they actually made the racing surface much wider. It was 58 feet wide. Now it's 78 feet wide. I've never seen a corner so wide. It's incredible how wide it is, and the reason the track got wider is simply because they took the angle out of the racetrack and they paved from the top to the bottom, and look what happens. Look at the result. You can just see everybody getting bottled up. The 42 into the 22. They're side by side. That stacks them up behind. Now they're 3 wide behind. Everybody's going for spots. Let's ride along.
Cole Custer didn't want to be involved in that, and luckily he was able to get by.
Well, then Cole Custer, when he saw Brandon Jones go to the left and make contact, your instinct as a driver is you know that car is going to come back out in front of you, and you could hear Cole Custer lift off the throttle. That's what that was about. He was sure he was going to come back in front of him. He was getting off the gas, thinking he was going to have to get in the brakes. But the minute he saw the car stay against the wall, he got back in the throttle to get by him as quick as possible.
Marty.
And Rick, another reason the field was so stacked up is that we heard from Parker a moment ago. There was a deal between Ryan Blaney and Erik Jones. There was also a deal for the inside line between William Byron and Kyle Larson. Neither one of those were executed very well. Here's what Kyle Larson had to say on the radio.
I guess if he's going to do the hand thing, he just needs to stick it out further so I can see it. 10-4, I already went down, told him.
So neither Kyle Larson nor Ryan Blaney knew when to go, and they were the guys on the second row, so that really had an effect also of stacking up the field, Dave.
And Marty, the guy that took advantage of that was the 48 of Brennan Poole. He restarted 6th on the outside, and as soon as they got squirrely, he went around. He's now 3rd.
Yeah, it bottles up in 1 and 2, and definitely if you see an opening, you've got to take advantage of it quickly.
And some of it's just survival.
Right.
You know, when they're all stacked up around you, you're just trying to get away from them.
William Byron still holding on to the lead. He's been out front for 11 laps. Most recent caution coming out as Brandon Jones hard into the inside wall. Spotters so important here at Texas Motor Speedway. This spotter coverage is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. We saw the congestion after the cars exited turn 2, and that's really a spotter's nightmare when you have 3 and 4 wide fighting for position, and they can't tell how close they are side by side because they're at the opposite side of the racetrack. I do want to listen in to a little bit of radio from the 9 of William Byron.
Hey, William, that 20, what has been doing all night, it goes into turn 1, push air on the bumper of the guy in front to make him lose, you know, but you're pulling him at corner exit, but that's what he's been doing all night with the car in front of him.
And that's Max Pappas giving information to William Byron. Max Pappas is Williams' driver advisor. That's an example of how William Byron is using every tool in the toolbox to be as good as he can possibly be.
Squirrely as they come into turn number 1. William Byron got loose. The 20 of Erik Jones takes the lead, and Kyle Larson goes by on the outside. Brennan Poole also taking advantage of that. Is that a product of just taking 2 tires?
That looked really odd to me. These restarts are extremely aggressive, but he lost all his speed on the straightaway. It wasn't in the corner.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, I know you're going to get a look at a replay, but as you look at it, wow, this is tight up front still. Brennan Poole was told he has a deal with the 9. The 9 was going to wave to get them going, and it looks like Brennan Poole got going a lot better.
Yeah, just a nice job by Brennan Poole. I wonder if there's any damage. We just saw those cars run through the grass. I don't see any splitter damage.
Matt Tifft in the 19 was one of them that went through the grass.
And you're right, guys. That was Matt Tifft who went to the grass. And just a couple restarts ago, Justin Allgaier came across the radio saying that he felt like guys were going to do this. You see, he gets very lucky there not to tear apart the front end of that race car, Matt Tifft in 19. But he said he felt guys were going to do this because he was losing where he was looking when you were so close behind other cars on the restart, guys.
Yeah, then William Byron, he missed a shift or something, and when he did, he got hit from behind by Brennan Poole right here. But the 9 lost momentum. He was going forward and then started going back, and Brennan Poole just got into the back of him. I don't know if he missed a shift or something. Right here, see right there? Something happened to the 9.
Bouncing back between the cars, losing spots, and now William Byron settles in at 7th, just in front of Daniel Hemrick.
And think about that. Split second. One small mistake. One thing happens, and now you go from leading the race to back here in the Hornet's nest in 7th.
Well, and Rick, you brought up right side tires. To your point, Jeff, I don't know if he missed a shift or perhaps just spun the tires. And you know how important it is, that left rear tire, which is much older on William Byron's car than any of these other cars, would be the one that would do most of the driving in the restart zone. So perhaps he just spun the tires. We're going to have to wait and see what the results are, but that could be something we'll have to watch as we get later in this race and we see more cars perhaps only take right side tires.
And Steve, one thing we don't know, because this is a new racetrack, but some racetracks are more susceptible to spinning rear tires on restarts than others. We don't know anything about this racetrack. This is only the 2nd race on this surface, but you know, it was so late into the restart zone. He was way down the straightaway when it happened. That leads me to believe, it's just hard for me to believe he was spinning tires right there.
When we were riding along with Erik Jones had shifted right when we saw the 9 come back with what he, as you mentioned, potentially not getting that shift just right or potentially spinning the tires when he made that shift.
One of the two. And again, we don't know about that left rear tire wear, and we don't know the susceptibility of tire spin on this surface.
Want to listen in on spotter communication from the 19 of Matt Tifft. And again, Matt Tifft just went through the grass.
So I would catch you a little bit on entry. Like as you come off the wall, probably another 5 car lengths. From there to about the 3rd point is where they made the most gains. And then once you got to the center, you could maintain it and drive off.
That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Matt Tifft currently running in the 6th position, just outside of the top 5. Parker.
And some of why he may have been getting caught on the entries there, as you heard his spotter Chris Osborne, also known as Crazy, describing, was that Matt Tifft has been a little loose on the entry of the corners, especially into turn 1. And one thing to watch, guys, and I've been hearing a lot of drivers and spotters talk about, is making a shallower entry into 1 to protect from cars behind them. And so there's a lot of drivers talking about how tough that entry into 1 is and how hard it is to protect going in there.
Jeff, you said the same thing earlier. You were out on the track earlier in the NBC Sports car, the Toyota Camry, and you said how difficult turn 1 is, and entering turn 1 just because it's something that you've never seen before.
I was shocked how you could not run up against the wall on the straightaway trying to make a entrance into turn 1 by making a big arc. If you don't get away from the wall, so watch these cars that enter turn 1, they're nowhere near the wall. Look at that. If you try to get out by the wall, you can't get the car turned to ever get to the bottom. And it's the most strange corner that I've ever been in. You just have to get out of your memory what a 1.5 miles is supposed to look like and feel like, and just do something completely different.
Jeff, you're watching Brennan Poole in the 48 defend his Texas territory here in 3rd place. How valuable would these stage points be? That would be 8 points for him if he can hold that position. And when I talked with Chad Norris about their season, that's one of their disappointments, that they hadn't scored more of those stage points. Blaney's got a really fast 22, but Poole trying to hang on with 14 to go in this stage. He's not going to be able to.
Blaney gets to the inside of him. Poole, the only driver in the top 5 without a win this season.
But if you're Brennan Poole, you're racing with a guy that's trying to win a Cup championship also. And that's what a great opportunity and great experience, having an opportunity to race with a driver like Ryan Blaney doing the things that he's done in the Cup Series this year.
Right behind him now is Christopher Bell in the 18, running 5th, as we see the gap close once again between Erik Jones and Kyle Larson. And I didn't hear him lift. They just went through 3 and 4 wide open. Pretty impressive there for Erik Jones, as he's going to come into turn 1, and you can't do that in turn 1 or 2 because of the loss of 4 degrees of banking. Now just 20 degrees in 1 and 2 as Larson continues to bird dog Erik Jones. Just 12 laps remaining, now 11 in stage 2 from Texas Motor Speedway. Erik Jones trying to hold off Kyle Larson on this late charge as we go NASCAR nonstop. Fifth caution comes out at Texas Motor Speedway. It was the 18. Christopher Bell spinning to bring out the caution. We heard on the radio, he said that there was no contact. Let's go down to Parker.
Guys, Justin Allgaier will pit here out of the top 10. He was falling back a little bit at the end of that run. Felt like he was actually just full throttle from 3 and 4, but just wasn't gaining any speed. A little bit tight off the corner. They're going to do 4 Goodyear tires you're seeing here in Sunoco fuel, Dave.
4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Christopher Bell, who spun. He's out of here, Marty.
Ryan Blaney hitting pit road, said no complaints for the car. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for William Byron. He said on that restart, he, quote, rushed the shift a little bit. So he said, my fault, guys. He said the car was just a little bit too free. 4 Goodyear tires. We'll see where this cycles everybody out once we go back green to wrap up stage 2, Rick.
Thanks, Marty. And again, the caution came out for the 18 of Christopher Bell spinning. We saw him on pit road getting 4 fresh tires, but that was why the caution came out this close to the end of stage 2. And a lot of strategy being played now as you see him just going around. Bringing the whole family to a NASCAR race has never been easier or cheaper. Kids 12 and under are free for every Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series playoff race on the schedule. So visit NASCAR.com/kids tickets to learn more about free and discounted tickets for an event near you. So strategy coming into play. We saw some drivers taking advantage of the opportunity to come to pit road here. Others have decided with just 5 laps to go in this stage, they want to stay out and get those valuable stage points.
Well, 6 to go right now. They're going to drop the green flag with 4 to go. So these guys racing for a championship, trying to get to Miami Homestead, they had a difficult decision to make. You can see Cole Custer, Sadler, Hemrick, Tiff, Poole, all those guys, they stayed out. They last pitted on lap 48. Remember, Custer pitted on 57 because he got off sequence because of that early problem. Now, you got to go all the way back to Ryan Blaney in 12th place. That's the first guy on 4 tires. So can Ryan Blaney get up there and pull Cole Custer and Sadler out of these point-paying positions? I don't think so, but William Byron in 13th and Justin Allgaier in 16th, Steve, they took themselves out of point-paying position to come in and get tires.
Well, Jeff, they did it for one reason and one reason only. That time right there, that yellow flag, gets all of these cars that pitted into a one-stop window. So what I mean is the leaders, Erik Jones and Kyle Larson, they will have to pit at the end of this stage and then pit again in the final stage. William Byron, Justin Allgaier, cars like that, they will not pit at the end of this stage, yet still only have to stop one more time. So as you said, they took themselves out of the points in the top 10, but they have put themselves in an excellent position for the finish of this race, Rick.
One of the things that's going to come into play, though, are the 4 fresh tires. William Byron, he's got cars in front of him that he could break into that top 10 and get some valuable points because he has fresher tires. We're going to see. They will have 4 laps to find out who can break into the top 10 and who wins stage 2.
Remember, in that 21 car, he did not get a good restart. That allowed Elliott, Sadler in that 1 to get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Kyle Larson running that second line and able to hang on to it. Erik Jones surges out front. Kyle Larson running second. Brennan Poole with a great restart, holding on to third. Elliott Sadler surges in front of the 19 of Matt Tifft and takes the 4th spot. Now just 3 laps to go. William Byron up to 11th after the restart.
Custer in 7th. He sees those guys behind him. He needs this 62 to hold up the 22 and the rest of the crowd, keep him from getting to him.
But Jeff, look how low that 9 had to exit turn 2, and he kind of blocked the 18. It was just like you said earlier. He had lost his momentum and was trying to play offense and defense.
William Byron trying to get by the 62 of Brendan gone. Pit road is closed now. Just 2 laps to go in stage 2. The fresher tires working for the 9 as he'll go by the 62 of Brendan gone.
Remember what Max Pappas told him? That the other driver is doing, trying to run right up behind another guy, take air off the rear spoiler. That's exactly what William Byron did to Brendan Gaughan right there.
Ryan Blaney and William Byron have both moved up into the top 10, Marty.
Hey, Rick, right before the green flag, Dave Ellen said to William Byron, hey, listen, just keep the fenders on it. Take care of the car. We'll be sitting pretty at the end of the stage. I don't think he is sitting pretty. I don't think he's slowing down at all, though. They have charged up to the field. He and Ryan Blaney now in a position to earn stage points for Byron.
Precious tires. Ryan Blaney and William Byron running 8th and 9th. Erik Jones out front. He won stage 1, and he'll win stage 2. Kyle Larson right behind him. Brennan Poole, Elliott Sadler, Matt Tifft, Daniel Hemrick, Cole Custer, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Brendan Gaughan, all finishing up in the top 10 at the end of stage 2. So now, William Byron, who just came to pit road, he's got the opportunity to stay out and be in the front row after these pit stops.
back for the Xfinity race here at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm down here on pit road, not in my normal seat in the booth in pit stall 43. And at the top of the show, we talked about my view and my view of the commitment line. Well, how about the 42 of Kyle Larson running second? Pit road is closed. The light is red. He peels off. Either a lack of concentration or a lack of communication. You saw after he crossed the line, he knew it. He kind of swerved too late. The penalty is done. Marty, the 42, a big mistake.
Lack of concentration, Steve. He said, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, guys. I just wasn't paying attention. Came down pit road, as you mentioned, when it's closed. So now he goes to the tail end of the line. They still have to pit here as well. So a big penalty for that 42 car of Kyle Larson.
Yeah, that's, you know, I can tell you about every driver has made a mistake similar to that. And it's just, you know, a little bit of miscommunication. The spotter, the driver, the crew chief, not all, you know, in sync. And then, you know, ultimately, though, it's on the driver. When the driver's got to pay attention to that pit closed line, that is his job. He's got to pay attention to it.
I guess I have to ask, why did he just pass people under the caution? He just went by the 62 and the 9.
Well, NASCAR may have put him in that spot because he rolled down pit road.
That's right, Jeff. What they'll do.
You blend in the way you came off of pit road. Now, he's going to serve his penalty after his pit stop.
Right.
So it really doesn't make much difference where he pits other than he's intermingled within these cars, but it's just how he came off pit road.
That's exactly right. I think the only difference it makes, Jeff, is for the other cars.
That's
right now, the 9 of William Byron, it's unfair to his competitors that he has an advantage. If the 42 is scored in this position, that's where he needs to add enter pit road.
So they're all in the correct position now, and now pit road is open. You hear the spotters and the crew chiefs letting the drivers know that pit road's open. That means the crew's all up on the wall getting ready for their time. Most important 12, 13, 14 seconds for the crew members, trying to be mistake-free. Erik Jones won stage 1 and stage 2 and now leads all the lead lap cars onto pit road. Dave.
And Rick, Brennan Poole ended up getting that third spot in this stage, 8 points to him, so that is good. His car, though, when it landed, wouldn't turn the way he wanted it to. He'll get an adjustment for that. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Parker.
Matt Tiff came into this race needing stage points, and he's done that, finishing 5th in both stages. They're going to do 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, and an adjustment for being too loose on the exit right now, Marty.
Bottom of your screen, Cole Custer, just right side tires only, and Sunoco fuel. They'll easily win the race off of pit road for that 0-0. He said he needed some back end stability. That's it. What a rally for this 0-0 tonight, Rick.
2 tires for Cole Custer, 5 spots. Kyle Larson, you see the 5 spots, but it's irrelevant because they'll have to start at the end of the field after coming to pit road too soon. All rise for Premier League mornings tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Perennial powers clash as league leaders Manchester City take on Arsenal. Then at 11:30 a.m., defending champions Chelsea host old boss Jose Mourinho. and Man United. That's Premier League mornings are on NBCSN. You're watching the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300. And Jeff, we've got a little clarification on the 42, right?
Yeah, well, we all jumped to a conclusion. And when he came down pit road, yes, pit road was closed, but he never stopped in his stall. They did not service the race car. So the only thing he loses is the track position that he gave up. He maintained pit road speed. He did not speed on pit road, so he blended off of pit road wherever he came back on the racetrack. So the penalty is just track position loss. Now, had he pitted and serviced the car, then there would be a penalty involved. But they never pitted. They just gave up the track position by coming down pit road. So he's going to he didn't really lose that much by making that move.
And Jeff, I think a round of applause for Mike Shiplett understanding that rule and telling his driver to abort and just roll down pit road. Very heads-up move.
He will restart 12th. Cole Custer, the only car in front of him that has as fresh a tires that have come to pit road on lap 94. Everyone else in front of them, they came to pit road on 83 and didn't come to pit road under this most recent caution, Dave.
And that's the entire reason why Christopher Bell stayed out here. He will split, according to Erik Phillips, his crew chief, he will split the next run. One more time down pit road for him tonight, Parker.
Yeah, one of the best cars here has been his teammate, Erik Jones in the 20s. He's led 81 laps here tonight, but this track has thrown them a little bit for a loop. We've talked about how 1 and 2 is so different than 3 and 4, and even for that 20 car, it's been so fast. He's talked about how in 1 and 2, his car is floating the splitter, but Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, told me before this race, you have to do that if you want the splitter to be perfect in 3 and 4, Marty.
Check out the amazing rally for Cole Custer tonight. At one point, Parker, he was 44 points down in the championship, standing 38th, -1 lap. He's in 11th right now, -4 points. And one interesting thing they did, Jeff, is they took 2 tires on that last stop. They put on scuff tires, so now they're on the same sequence tire-wise with everybody else as well.
Back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air from Texas. Ryan Blaney in the 22 out front. Here comes the 18, Christopher Bell, making the move up to second. William Byron falls back to third. And a side-by-side battle for that 4th spot. Austin Dillon takes it away from brother Ty Dillon. Justin Allgaier looking up into the mirror.
And one of the cars he's looking forward to, second place, is Christopher Bell. Remember, he brought out the caution on lap 83, and he's up there running in second.
Hard on the brakes as he gets into turn 1. Ryan Blaney trying to pull away from Christopher Bell. William Byron closing the gap. Now caught up into the back bumper of Bell. And then right behind them, Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon, Blake Cook running in the 6th position. Justin Allgaier is 7th. Hugging the white line.
It takes so much discipline to do what William Byron just did right there. Right on the back of Christopher Bell. And we hear all the time how the car trailing another car has no downforce on it. So now you drive into a corner that has no banking, has no grip. How do you keep the car on the bottom? And how do you keep pace? You have to slow down at exactly the right time. If you try to carry too much pace, you can't stay on the bottom. It's very disciplined driving by all 3 of these drivers. Restart continue, Rick.
Yeah. Ross Chastain in the 4, Brennan Gaughan in the 62, and those 2 trading a little paint as they go down the back stretch. So now Ryan Reed moves to the inside of Brennan Gaughan. Already almost a second separating Ryan Blaney from Christopher Bell. Parker.
Yeah, just a couple updates on some of our playoff contenders. First, the 19 car of Matt Tifft, you see going around the 39 of Ryan Sieg there. He actually had to restart at the tail end of the longest line because he had a man go over the wall too soon. Remember, he came in running 5th. He's been flawless all night, and sadly that mistake by his team put him behind right now. He's coming through the field nicely. Ahead of him is Daniel Hemrick, who came into that pit stop running 6th. He actually went out 17th. They had a gun hang up on the left front, had to change that gun, and actually has been making his way up and now running 13th. So just two of our playoff contenders having to recover from bad pit stops.
Pit road's so important, especially when you only have a few opportunities to be on pit road and in front of the crew. The 62 and the 4 seems like it's never ending between these two. As the 4 trying to get by the 62, up the racetrack they go, and sideways is Ross Chastain in that 4, but able to clear the 62.
These two keep banging into each other with this kind of speeds, and it's not going to end well. And we've seen at Martinsville last week cars running into each other, cutting sidewalls, and you're running 190 mile an hour top speed.
So guys, you know how I like to try to break the races down off past history. Well, it's very interesting to see. There's been 6 yellow flags tonight, the same amount we saw in the first 2 stages from the race in the spring. But a little note, the final stage in the spring Xfinity race here went green for the last 110 laps. So we'll see if the same thing happens tonight. If that's the case, the right side of your screen, the 9 of William Byron, the 2 of Austin Dillon, this strategy that they're on, as well as Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney, should really pay off.
Hey, Steve, if Brendan Gaughan and Ross Chastain continue that, it's not going to go green the rest of the way.
Yeah, we have seen already tempers flaring a bit between those two. But William Byron in a position looking for his 4th win of the 2017 season, up there in the top 3.
How about Austin Dillon? He's worked his way up. These RCR cars hadn't quite had the speed that you're accustomed to seeing from them in the Xfinity series, but Austin has ground his way up to the top 5. Ty Dillon in 5th, Austin in 4th.
Kyle Larson back up to 6th already after coming to pit road when it was closed, but only passing through, so he didn't have to go to the tail end of the longest line. Dave?
Been a good night for Austin Dillon so far. Wasn't good at the beginning, had a little bit of an ill-handling race car, but Nick Harrison, when I talked to the crew chief about tonight, he was very confident about it because he said Austin was very calm and cool behind the wheel during practice. They felt like they had a great race car. They just had enough time to prove it, and he is.
Again, Austin running in that 4th position, just trailing William Byron. And now looking to the inside as they came up on some of the lap traffic, and that might have affected the line that William Byron was running, and so Austin Dillon gets by. He will take the 3rd spot away from Byron.
Once again, we see lap traffic or slower traffic really influence who can pass who. Just that little bit of momentum loss at these speeds, and the guy behind you is coming quick.
Well, if you look right behind William Byron, Jeff, sorry, I was going to say, Rick, you just told us that Kyle Larson had got up to the 6th position, but perhaps more importantly than that, he got in front of Erik Jones in the 20 car, and I think that may be a big difference maker as this race continues, as we see the 74 smoking but off the racing surface.
Yeah, Mike Harmon is smoking, as you mentioned, though, down on the apron, and so not in the groove or on the racing surface. We'll see if he's able to get back around onto pit road and stay without a caution. He does get to pit road. As long as he can get to his stall or back into the garage, we stay green. Blaney out in front of Christopher Bell by a second. He has a 3.5 second lead over 3rd place Austin Dillon as we go NASCAR nonstop. Tomorrow on NBCSN, NASCAR playoffs continue on the Monster Energy Cup Series. That race coverage from Texas Motor Speedway begins at 2 p.m. Eastern. Which playoff driver can join Kyle Busch in the championship four with a victory? As you see the 88 on the back of Big Hoss in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s final race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Steve?
So, Rick, what I've learned is when you have this great of a seat, you have a lot of friends that come see us. So Otto Boland's come back. He's checked in with me again. Otto, you've done a lot of cool things this weekend, driven a race car, been all around. From what I understand, though, you got to spend some time in race control. We just saw the 42 come down pit road, and there has to be a ruling on that unique rule. You saw how just complicated it can be from the tower.
Yeah, one of the things that I was surprised to learn is that it's really only in the last 3 seasons that these drivers have so much technology watching everything they do on pit road. Does it mean that they have to be just that much more precise than, say, a driver 20 years ago?
Absolutely, because there used to be human error. Before, there were officials that would be on pit road in everybody's pit box, and they would say whether you were in and out of the pit box. They would make the decision if you came over pit road too early. Now the officials in race control run the race, and pit road is officiated by that trailer out in the compound that you saw, and it's all done by cameras. And you know technology, it can be your friend or it can be your enemy when it calls you out.
Absolutely.
What a great perspective you guys are able to give us from right there on pit road in that first pit box from the pit entrance as we continue to watch Ryan Blaney out front. But it's Elliott Sadler who has been moving, of the playoff drivers, moving toward the front. He was able to get by William Byron, and now setting his sights on Cole Custer. So Sadler has moved up to 7th, Dave.
They made a nice little adjustment on that race car for him. Remember, in that last stage, he finished 4th and gained 7 valuable stage points. The car was free for him, but he said, I don't want you to tighten me up too much. And after getting around one car there, he thought he was going to get 2 for 1. But after making that pass, Elliott seems very happy with his race car right now. Marty?
Davis' teammate William Byron is going the other direction from 2nd to 9th and or 8th, actually, in a free fall for William Byron. Here's what he had to say on the radio.
What do we got going on? I know we're getting past, but I can't see down here. We're 6/10 off.
And what he has said is, I just have 0 speed in the center of the corner. The car just is not working. The front end not working. Jeff, I think even from the booth, you can see 9 struggling in the middle of the corner there with his speed.
Yeah, Marty, the car just does not point quick enough. And when he gets to the center of the corner, he's slower than everybody else. See a battle right here. Kyle Larson going by Austin Dillon. 3rd spot. 20 car of Daniel Hemrick. I'm sorry, 20 car of Erik Jones also using that momentum. Catch Austin Dillon.
But back to William Byron and trying to get through the center of the corner.
Yeah, so right here, you can see the 20 car, the 2 car, right in the middle of the corner. Those cars point, and they're able to carry speed through the middle of the corner, meaning they're able to go back to the throttle. And the 9 car just can't do that. He does not have good turn. Front end's not working well. And the only thing you can do at that point, Rick, is slow down. If your car's loose, you can, a little loose, you can drive the car through that. But when it's tight, your hands are tied. It's just not that much you can do, especially when it's tight in the middle of the corner.
So William Byron has fallen back to 8th now. As you see the stage points that were earned today after stages 1 and 2. Elliott Sadler, 15 points. Tift, 12 points, as sliding through the grass, the 24 of Dylan Lupton.
Roll straight, leader's coming. Get to the line, get to the line, get to the line.
And you heard him say get to the line. He didn't want to go a lap down. Dylan Lupton in the 24 scored 22nd. He was 19th when he spun.
Brennan gone underneath Dylan Lupton, got way loose, had to chase it up the racetrack and got into the side of him. Dylan Lupton spinning through the grass, lucky he didn't get as much damage as right there.
2 here, keep rolling the bottom. Check up here, check up, check up, check. Clear high. Crossing down, backing down.
And that's what a spotter does. Gives you a general direction as to where you should go. But the 24 spinning and through the grass, Steve.
Well, I was getting ready to say, decision time, Jeff, decision time. This is definitely outside of the fuel window. None of these leaders can make it to the end of the race from here. But you have Blaney, Christopher Bell leading this race. They have about 33 green flag laps on their tires. I think they have about 20 laps of fuel left. That's kind of a rough calculation, maybe a little bit farther. Then you have someone like Larson who has about 10 lap better tires and 10 laps more fuel. So can you risk staying out here and pitting under green? While that's the right call to win the race, an untimely caution, Jeff, after that pit stop would definitely hurt you. So this is going to be where the crew chiefs have to make a big decision. And think about it, the decision for Larson and Blaney, Christopher Bell, is all about winning the race. But what if you're Cole Custer, Elliott Sadler, William Byron, Brennan Poole, when you're trying to gather points? I think you have to come to pit road. I don't think you can risk being caught out there low on fuel.
Yeah, it's 24 cars in the lead lap. So you make the wrong decision and you pit when other people don't, and you have a lot of ground to make up because there are so many cars on the lead lap. And we've seen the restart, Steve. Track position is huge. Being in those front 2 rows is way better than being in 5th row, 6th row, 7th row.
Yeah, if I'm Kyle Larson, I'm going to do whatever Blaney doesn't. I say that because I'm not sure if he feels he can run up and pass him. Maybe he does. We're getting ready to see how confident he is in his race car. If he follows the 22 and the 18 on pit road, that tells me he feels he can beat him heads up. So I think we're going to learn a lot about what these drivers and crew chiefs really feel like they got for a race car when we start talking about the top 4 or 5 cars.
Green light is on, pit road is open, and let's see who's coming. Quite a few are going to come to pit road. Dave?
Car fired off very well for the 18 of Christopher Bell. He was happy with it. And now he's going to get just a slight air pressure adjustment, I think, and 4 tires and fuel. Parker?
Erik Jones pits out of 4th. The call was apples, which I believe might be just right side tires, but I'm not entirely sure he's going to do Sunoco fuel. And also, yes, right side tires for Erik Jones.
What an amazing rally for Cole Custer, Parker. The 19-year-old's gone from 38 to 6 right here. Going to lose a little track position because they're going to go with 4 tires. Erik Jones winds up winning the race off pit road, Rick.
2-tire stop for quite a few. Under this caution, Erik Jones, Austin Dillon, Elliott Sadler. They were the first 3 off of pit road. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. 42 of Kyle Larson came to pit road for service, and then the rear tire changer went to the crew chief and said, I think I missed one. So they brought him back onto pit road. They put a lug nut on the left rear and put him back out on the racetrack. So now Kyle Larson will be mired back in the field, but a little closer to the front is Justin Allgaier, and he will restarts in the 9th position. And what a great perspective it will give us to see just how chaotic it is on a restart at Texas Motor Speedway from the driver's perspective.
And from what I've seen so far on these restarts driving into turn 1, I'm a little nervous in this seat. They have been hectic. I think I want to be in the inside lane for sure. The outside's been problematic, but with everybody trying to get to the bottom, Justin Allgaier trying to have a good finish so that he can have an opportunity to go to Miami for a championship. These restarts are nerve-wracking.
See how he does out of the 5th row.
Didn't get to the bottom of the racetrack right here.
It is amazing how little you can see on the restart. Open the door for the 48. Brennan Poole is going to try to take advantage of that. Allgaier now looking to the outside, but knows that that's not the preferred line through 1 and 2. Trying to hang on, as I can see out of the mirror on the side that the 48 is right there. And the 11 coming up as well, and Blake Cook. What a ride for Justin Allgaier.
And Jeff, what a great move to battle that 48 off after the 48 had got him out of the preferred groove.
That's all you can do is just keep battling. You could hear how much he was out of the throttle, but everybody around him was out of the throttle more, allowed him to get back to the bottom. What a great opportunity to ride along. And I know we don't show a big view of everybody, but to put people in that driver's seat and to show what a driver deals with on a restart, it looks easy from a big shot. It looks like it's not that difficult, but you heard how much he was working the throttle, how much his hands were moving, how much he was using the brake. It's just amazing how much work goes on right through there.
And Jeff, maybe I was focused on the wrong thing, but the only thing I could see was the back bumper of the car right in front of him. I mean, on that restart, he had 8 cars that were in front of him, but the only one I was focusing on was the one right in front of him.
And honestly, that's about all he can see. The visibility out of these cars, I don't think fans at home appreciate how much the drivers can't see.
And Jeff, how about this pit decision by the 19 car to only take 2 tires, has him running in the 3rd position. That was a big call by Matt Beckton, because if you look at the points after we take down the tires, this 19 car is now in. He's +6 on the 48 of Brennan Poole, who's back in the 13th position, Parker.
And Steve, to add on to that, that decision was made mid-pit stop as the 19 was in his stall. Matt Beckman looked to his right at the 20 car who's right behind them, saw they were doing 2 tires, called for 2 tires, and the team nailed it, getting out there on just 2 tires and gaining a lot of track position. Overall, great move by that 19 team.
Hey, Parker, that's a little advantage, too, of being towards turn 1 on pit road. That 19 car is a pit stall 13, so you kind of get a little head start. You get to see the cars that have pitted before you, get a little head start, see if they have left side tires over pit wall or not. That's good on the fly decision making.
Hey, Parker, something else. You know, that's difficult for a driver, because when you're planning on putting 4 on, you don't have it in gear. You're waiting for them to drop the jack on the right side, then get it in gear. Matt Tifft had to get the car in gear, as you see the 22 of Blaney making that move. But Matt Tifft had to get that car in gear at a time where they weren't changing the tires. Because if you put it in gear, even with the clutch in, that rear tire spins and it completely destroys the pit stop.
Exactly, Jeff. And actually, just to add on to it, it was very close with the jackman actually had the jack going in under the left side of the car and then pulled it out just as Matt was actually doing the burnout out of the box. So it was a lot of things that went right for them that could have went really wrong.
And I don't think that's something Matt Tifft could have done a year ago. Matt Tifft has grown so much this year. He has matured as a race car driver, been given the opportunity to mature, and that is, you're starting to get the rewards of that. You can't expect a young driver to go out and do the things that we see Cup drivers do routinely on Sundays.
Well, how about riding on board with Cole Custer? The rebound has continued. He's up to the 6th position and has 4 tires. So he's in position to perhaps maybe get 1 or 2 more spots, Jeff. I mean, he's still out at 13 below the cut line, but we saw how far out he was at the start of this race. This team has continued a very nice recovery from that flat tire earlier in the race.
And you said it early, Steve. He had the calmness not to get himself in trouble in a difficult situation. With the championship on the balance, the opportunity to go win a championship at 19 years old, there was no panic.
Right now, it's been dominant for the 20 of Erik Jones. He won stage 1 and stage 2. Take a look at today's Toyota driver update. And again, out front, it's Erik Jones. Matt Tifft, the best of the Toyota drivers as far as playoff drivers. He's currently 4th. Christopher Bell, J.J. Yeley, and Dylan Lupton all inside the top 20. Cole Custer. We mentioned what a evening it has been for him. Was a lap down. Now has battled his way back up into the top 10, running 6th. Start of the race for Cole Custer, incredible. He started in the 2nd position, but immediately fell back. After 1 lap, he was running 8th. After 2 laps, he was running 15th. The team realized that there had to be something wrong. He knew there was something wrong with the car. They had a tire that was going down. He came to pit road. They lost a lap, but through perseverance, they've been able to battle back and now running in the 6th position as we see Ryan Blaney has taken 2nd away from Elliott Sadler.
But a smart move by Elliott Sadler. He saw Ryan Blaney coming. So why put yourself in a position where you're on the outside of somebody driving into turn 3, a place we have not seen anybody make the outside work? You're going to give up more time racing him than if you just let him go. And Elliott Sadler right now, his goal, you know, Blaney's quicker, so Elliott's goal is to keep Christopher Bell and Matt Tifft and that crowd behind. And nice, smart move by Elliott Sadler. Marty.
And look here. About to get another spot for Cole Custer, maybe working his way into the top 5. We've talked about the rally. We've talked about him being calm at 19 years old. Very impressive. And we've also talked about veteran spotter Eddie DeHaan. Cole has been saying the car has been still loose all evening long. Cannot get that car tightened up. And Eddie said, you know what? You're doing a fantastic job, bud. That's what puts hair on your chest. So Dave cheering him on every way he can, trying to get that loose race car to work for Cole Custer.
And he's certainly done a good job of that tonight. They've been cheering this guy on too, but in a more relaxed way. Remember, winning the race is the goal, obviously, for Elliott Sadler, but as a fast car with 4 fresh tires versus Elliott's 2 comes to him, he did let him go. And the mantra tonight has been, you're doing what you need to do here tonight. You look over to the left, Elliott 30 points above on the playoff leaderboard, in good position. Don't need to do anything stupid tonight. Somebody behind you is coming by in a hurry, you let him go.
Well, Dave, if you look at the opposite end of the leaderboard, down there at 32 down, this 16 car of Ryan Reed, flat tire, contact with the wall, lap 42. He spent almost 80 laps, 2 laps down. Well, now he's only 1 lap down. He's in the free pass position, but he's only got about 15 laps more fuel before he has to come pit road. This 16 car needs a yellow.
Just 48 laps to go from Texas Motor Speedway for the Xfinity Series as they are in their second race of the round of 8. Tomorrow, the battle will continue for the Monster Energy Cup Series. And when I say battle, I mean battle. And it started at Martinsville a week ago, especially between Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott.
You got 2 or 3 cars that are so much better than everyone else on the mile and a half that this is your race to get it done.
Ben Fender's hurt feelings. I love it.
What they call racing is bull. Keselowski all the way to the wall. Gonna run you up.
The bumper to the back of the 24.
Oh, I just wrecked it. Bag.
To see the 24 showing his displeasure and how he was raced.
Everybody was doing the exact same thing.
Definitely 100% unnecessary and uncalled for.
And tomorrow will be a very busy day. Countdown to Green presented by Sonic at 1:30. Monster Energy Series Racing from Texas Motor Speedway at 2. Followed by post-race hashtag victory lap at 6:30. And the premiere of Shotgun at 7:30. So a very busy day on NBCSN. Make sure to join us. Erik Jones, he'll be a part of it. Driving the 77 in the Monster Energy Cup Series as we see Justin Allgaier and Brennan Poole. Allgaier and Poole currently running 10th and 11th. So Erik Jones out front, Ryan Blaney running second, Elliott, Sadler, Christopher Bell, and Cole Custer all in the top 5. Just outside is Kyle Larson in the 42. Matt Tiff, William Byron, Austin Dillon, and Justin Allgaier in the top 10. Poole and Hemrick just outside of the top 10, 11th and 12th. And then Ryan Reed is a lap down, running 24th now. Parker.
And guys, from my calculations, from all the cars we've seen so far, why so many cars took 2 tires there is because they cannot make it to the end on fuel. And actually, the 7's car was just discussing this a while ago.
How close are you? Like late in the race, last 10 laps or whatever. How close are you? We're 8, 9 short right now.
So there you have it, 8 or 9 short. So Steve, if you're listening down there on your pit box, my question is, if you're only 8 to 9 short, when do you pit? And if tires aren't wearing out, what do you do? Is it just fuel only like you saw in the truck race last night? Is it 2 tires? What's the call?
Well, I think you're 8 or 9 laps. You're talking basically 2 gallons. That is a 1.5, 2-second pit stop, 2.5-second pit stop. So I think the call is to run as long as you can, come down, take gas only, be as efficient as possible. I don't think this is the type of track where short pitting and putting on fresh tires make up enough time. So my call is to run all the way to the bitter end and a gas and go for maybe the last 10 or 12 laps.
That's for drivers who we're hearing now about 8 laps short.
The real question, Rick, is if you get an accident, do you stay on the racetrack and try to save 8 laps? I think that's way too far. You need like 15 yellows, but, we've seen crazier gambles.
Hey, Steve, we need to clean up a little bit with the 42 car. NASCAR's told us they've kind of missed the call on that. Earlier we saw him on pit road under caution. He pitted, went through, did not pit. NASCAR saying they actually should have penalized him because they ruled it initially as if he would have been committed to pit road, like under green flag conditions, and then the red light come on, like we've seen on the road courses many times. Then they allow the teams to roll through pit road. But in the incident where it's caution the whole time, then they should have been put to the tail end of the lead lap, and there should have been penalized.
So that's very good cleaning up the rule, but I will say in the 42 situation, this happened all the way back about lap 92. He restarted a little farther up than he should have, but the big difference is he restarted 13th. He probably should have been at the tail end, but under this last set of pit stops, they had that issue with the lug nut. So this run here we're watching, he started at the tail end of the field, so I'm not sure it would have affected where he's running now, but it's very good for NASCAR to clear it up. So here's what you were talking about. He pitted while it was closed. It was under yellow the whole time. That's the exception that you're talking about. That opportunity to roll through is under green, transferring to caution under that moment. So we appreciate NASCAR explaining that they don't feel that they got this call correct. But when I look at how the race has played out since that point, really this last restart, he was the last car out there, and he's driven all the way up to the 5th position. So I think while the call perhaps wasn't right, I don't believe it's affected the outcome of the 42 so far today.
And I just think it's important for us to always be able to explain the rules. I agree with you. It's not really affecting anything, but unfortunately, Ryan Reed on pit road, Dave.
Last minute on lap 94, Jeff, they were working the fuel stretching strategy, and so coming down now, they said if the light blinks red at all, you come down pit road. That's what he's done. He was actually only 1 lap down at that point, but now he's going to lose that lap.
So a tough night for Ryan Reed. And as you see on the left side of your screen, the 16 all the way at the bottom of the round of 8 drivers, 32 points back. That will more than likely put Ryan Reed in a must-win situation as the Xfinity Series will travel to Phoenix next week. But right here, Erik Jones continuing his domination, has led 117 of the 164 laps that have been run already from Texas.
So, Rick, we were just talking to Parker, brought up a great point. All right, so you're 8 or 10 laps short on fuel. What should you do? Well, my opinion is for all of the Xfinity cars that are racing for points, the 1, the 7, teams like that. Well, let's talk about this 42 of Kyle Larson. He has recovered from that lug nut problem all the way up into the 5th position, 7.5 seconds behind Erik Jones. Jeff, we're 36 laps to go. At what point does the 42 say, you know what? We're going to gamble. We're going to come to pit road and take 4 tires. I'm thinking with maybe 20 or 25 laps to go, you take tires and try to do something to outrun this 20 on the racetrack. I think if this race continues green, I'm just not sure that this 42 can make up 7.5 seconds under the same strategy.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think with 35 laps to go, I mean, that's a ton of time you got to make up each lap. And I'm with you. I think with this team, we're really nothing to lose. I think why not? Why not gamble and try something different?
Well, Steve, why not come now? If you know you're short, why wouldn't you short pit, come now, get those tires, and then hope for maybe a caution coming out to close that gap?
Rick, this is why you and I are such good friends in a casino, because you're a gambler like me. That is exactly right. I mean, there is no reason. The reason is because the risk is bigger. You're going to lose a lap, and a yellow will end your chance of winning the race. That is really the only reason. It's purely a math number. The advantage of coming now, you're going to have a bigger advantage on tires, more laps to catch him. The risk, more laps for a yellow to come out. The opposite is wait as long as you can.
And Steve, this is why I'm always at the one at the door saying, let's leave. Let's leave the casino. I've had enough.
That's why you were a really good driver and I wasn't, because I'm a gambler, and it's not good gambling behind the wheel, but gambling on top of the pit box in the right situation, a gamble can work. If you're the 9 of William Byron, Marty, I'm not sure that you're looking for a gamble. You're just looking for a good solid day. You're currently 24 points up.
I can vouch for Burton. I've been there when he's told you it's time to go. You've won enough money. For William Byron and his team, they're about 4 laps short. Dave Ellens tells him they're going to pit with about 10 laps to go. But it's been a struggle handling-wise for the 9 car all night long. Take a listen on the radio.
What are we doing different now that we're losing a tenth every lap, Earl? Man, looks like we're not being able to stay on the bottom in the center now. Dave, from here, I cannot tell you. It seems like he's getting to the line a little sooner than the 42 into 1. Give us a little help, bud. You still tight?
Yeah, still tight. Just don't have the front grip.
And he's come on the radio and said, I just don't have the speed either. So, Steve, I'm wondering about the psyche of a 19-year-old. He's clearly seen his teammate Elliott Sadler be faster at the 1.5 miles. Cole Custer's faster than him tonight. The next 1.5 mile race, the championship race at Homestead, Miami. So, not the night the 9 has won it. What do you say to your young driver after this race, though?
Well, I think you just have to sit down and come up with a plan. The advantage for the 9 is while Miami is a 1.5 mile track, it couldn't be any more different than this track. Very asymmetric corners, fresh pavement, tire wear is not very high. You go to Miami, it's the exact opposite. So that would be my sales pitch, Marty. It's nothing like this track at all.
We're going to go NASCAR nonstop. Erik Jones out in front of Ryan Blaney here in Texas. Laps winding down, 24 to go from Texas as we see Christopher Bell currently running in the 5th position. The last time he was on a 1.5-mile track, it was the last race for the Xfinity Series in Kansas, and a lot of people questioned the move that he made, a slide job late in the race to get in front of a teammate, and with this move, it almost looked like Christopher Bell parked it right in front of Erik Jones, and that contact right there slowed the 20 down. And Christopher Bell moved on into victory lane to grab his first ever win in the Xfinity Series. And Christopher Bell is still running for a championship in the Camping World Truck Series.
And it shows you, Erik Jones, he was out on a big lead, and Christopher Bell ran him down, made a race of it.
Well, next Saturday on NBC, the NASCAR playoffs continue for the Xfinity Series with an elimination race from Phoenix. Who will round out the championship 4? That race coverage begins at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. And again, Christopher Bell now running in the 5th position. Erik Jones out front, Ryan Blaney running 2nd. Elliott Sadler, the top playoff driver, running 3rd. Larson has made his way up to 4th, but still 7.5 seconds behind Erik Jones. Christopher Bell running in the 5th position. Cole Custer, Matt Tiff, William Byron, Brennan Poole, Justin Allgaier, all in the top 10, just outside. Daniel Hemrick running 11th. Again, Ryan Reed, the other playoff driver, 25th, scored 3 laps down now. They have had a very difficult evening.
Now keep in mind, Rick, this is the longest green flag run we've had tonight, 50 laps. You know, obviously in practice they don't run long runs like this. This is a place where teams and drivers have not been on these tires.
There's a lot of strategy that's still being talked about, Steve, and Brennan Poole trying to get by William Byron now.
Well, now, Rick, it's about what's the right strategy, but even more importantly, execution. We've already seen a mistake under yellow, the 42 coming to pit road when it was closed, but now these cars will be coming under green flag conditions. And Jeff, you talk about how treacherous this racetrack is. Well, how fast is it? 200 miles an hour. These drivers have to come through the fast end of the racetrack in 3 and 4 and somehow get to pit road, commit, clean on and off. No matter what strategy you're on, a mistake right here by driver or crew, there's not enough laps to recover, Jeff. Your night's over.
Now, I'm going to tell you something too, is this with this racetrack, with the reconfiguration, the apron in turn 1 is small. It's about a car width and a half wide, so as you're trying to carry speed under a green flag pit stop to get to the back straightaway as quickly as possible, you can see someone make a mistake over there and slide up on the racetrack, Marty.
Closing in quickly on these green flag stops. So let's take a look at the roller coaster night we talked about earlier for Cole Custer. At one point he was 38th tonight. He came in -8, and on lap 9 he was 55 points below the cut line. Right now he's -13 below the cut line, only lost 5 points. I would dare to say, Rick, if we told them when all that went down early in the race, you're going to get out of here only losing 5 points, if they can hang on right where they were, they would have taken that gladly. They're going to pit with about 7 to go, so we're going to see all these leaders coming down pit road very soon, Rick.
Yeah, J.J. Yaley just came to pit road in the 14. So some drivers are taking advantage of coming a little bit early. Now the 62 of Brendan Gaughan has made his way onto pit road. We'll get service to that car.
You know, it's risky for the guys that are in the playoffs. It's risky for them to be the first ones on pit road, because if that caution comes out and traps them, it's a big penalty. For Ryan Blaney trying to track Erik Jones down, I think he wants to be on pit road early, and here he comes onto pit road, Ryan Blaney.
You're right, Jeff. The 22 just passed me. It looked like a very good, smooth entrance to pit road. It looked slowed down by the commitment line. Everything smooth for the 21. The one of Elliott Sadler also pitting right in front of me. Looked very good into his pit box, and he's going to take 2 tires, Dave.
And last time, Steve, he didn't want any adjustments to that race car. This time it'll be right sides only. Didn't slide the tires coming in. That preserves the lefts, Marty.
Originally, Greg Irwin was going to go with right side tires. That's why he pitted so early. They instead go fuel only for Ryan Blaney, who said for the first time all night his car had gotten tight. Parker?
That tip pits out at 7th place. It's just going to be right side tires, I believe, on the 19, and a splash of fuel here. He's off the 19 car. So coming down pit road is the race leader, Erik Jones. Just going to be fuel only, just a couple seconds, and he's off. Let's see if he can beat the 22 in the whole lap time delta.
All right, so here's the race where will ultimately be for the lead. Here's the 22 of Ryan Blaney, just driving into turn 1. Remember, he came in second. Here they are off turn 2.
And where's the gap? There it is. Erik Jones in the 20, Ryan Blaney in the 22. Still some cars that will have to come to pit road for fuel. Marty.
We've talked about the incredible night for Cole Custer. Jeff Mannering making the call here for right side tires. We'll see if that pays off at all. Fuel to get to the end, Parker.
Justin Allgaier pits out of the 10th position. It's been a ho-hum night for him, just running around that 10th position all night. I believe it'll just be right side tires on the 7 here, and a small air pressure adjustment, and that Sunoco fuel, as you see, 7 is off, Marty.
Kyle Larson coming down pit road, and is supposed to be fuel only. That was a call from Kevin Shiplett, little crossover there with Justin Allgaier, and it is going to be fuel only for Kyle Larson. We'll see if this gains him track position. Just a couple of seconds here on pit road. We'll see where he cycles out, guys.
William Byron jumped to the top of the scoring pylon as he has yet to come to pit road. And now William Byron will turn left and get onto pit road for his fuel. Again, 12 laps to go in this race. As everyone having to come to pit road for fuel. Michael Annett stays out. Ty Dillon still out. Marty.
And with the points cushion they have, Dave Ellen's kind of making the conservative call here, Rick. He's going to go with 2 right side Goodyear tires for William Byron. Also a chassis adjustment. Still struggling with that car being tight. You see a big chassis adjustment in the fuel to make it to the end.
Battle for the lead right here. Erik Jones and the 22 of Ryan Blaney, and they are about a car length apart. Ty Dillon still out on the racetrack, so he is scored as the race leader, but he'll have to come to pit road. 10 laps of racing to go.
And Rick, if the 22 is going to get by the 20, it's most likely going to have to happen in turns 1 and 2. That is where the 20 has struggled all night. He's felt like the splitter has been too high. They've made multiple packer adjustments trying to get that splitter lower to the ground through turns 1 and 2, but he's struggled to get it to turn off the corner. If the 22 can get a good run off of 2, he might be able to take advantage of that deficiency.
Well, Parker, I think a huge key right now is going to be potential lap traffic. You see the 11 of Blake Cook. He's a good race car. He's not that he's running that bad, but he's going to slow the leaders down. Now they're too wide in front of the leaders. A little bit of air off the 20 cars, let the 22 get a run.
And the 3 was coming to pit road, and now the 20 is the race leader because the 3 has come to pit road. So Erik Jones out front trying to sweep the Xfinity Series races at Texas. He was able to win earlier in April. Erik Jones trying to hold off Ryan Blaney.
And so right now, Erik Jones is in the worst possible aerodynamic situation. He has a car in front of him, and he has a car behind him. So as he catches the 11 car, if the 22 can get closer, now all the air is pulled off the 20. It's going to really slow the 20 down right here.
And that allows the 22 to close the gap. So here comes Ryan Blaney once again. Erik Jones, though, accelerating out of 2 well. Marty.
And Rick, it's been a struggle all night for the 22, just hearing Ryan Blaney. They can barely hear him. The spotter's having to translate what he thinks Ryan is saying is going on with the race car. Ryan has finished second 5 times this year, twice to Erik Jones. He told me earlier today, I'm tired of finishing second. Guess where he finished second earlier this year? Here at Texas to Erik Jones. He doesn't want to do it again tonight.
See Erik Jones getting by Blake Cook. That's huge because now he has a few laps of clean racetrack. He's got about 3 or 4 laps, I think, before he catches the 9. Well, I'm sorry, not the 9. The 5 will be the next car, Michael Annett.
And Marty mentioned the fact that Ryan Blaney has been finishing second so many times, twice already to Erik Jones. Could this be the 3rd Second place finish for Ryan Blaney behind Erik Jones. It's looking that way with just under 5 laps to go. And there's a gap under 100 feet and a big run by Blaney as they come out of turn 4.
Look what Erik Jones is looking at in front of him, cars side by side. Lap traffic's going to play an issue, Rick, I promise you.
Under 4 laps to go. Erik Jones in the 20 leading this race, but Ryan Blaney right on his back bumper as Jones goes way down the racetrack to take the inside line. And a little bobble there by Ryan Blaney in the 22, loses a little bit of that momentum that he had as they were entering 3 and 4. And once again, now under 3 laps to go. Erik Jones and Ryan Blaney hugging that white line through 1 and 2.
A nice job by Michael Annett to give Erik Jones the room that he deserves as a leader. Very respectful.
And Jeff, Erik Jones really wants this win. Chris Gabehart told me after losing that race at Kansas, they've never seen Erik so upset. He was just so distraught to have lost that race that they dominated to his teammate Chris Ravel. He really wants this win here tonight.
He's dominated again. 140 laps led already with just 2 to go.
Erik's in good shape now. He's cleared most of lap traffic. I don't think he's going to have to deal with anyone else.
The gap a half a second. And even worse is the 24 of Dylan Lupton is in between right now, the 20 and the 22. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. 0.7 of a second separating 1 and 2. Erik Jones again looking for his 3rd win in the Xfinity Series in 2017 and looking for the sweep here at Texas. Able to get the win in April. And now comfortably out front. He'll come in front of the grandstands again. The checkered flag goes to Erik Jones in Texas.
Exactly what I told you to.
Blaney once again finishes second.
Is getting that done. Thank you. You are a great race car.
Sadler and Custer 4th and 5th, top 5 finishes for the 2 battling for a championship in 2017. Brennan, Poole, Matt Tiff, William Byron, playoff drivers that were all in the top 10. The new configuration has worked out for Erik Jones. 20-year-old's going to do his burnout in front of the crowd. Erik Jones will race tomorrow in the Monster Energy Cup Series. Sheds the left rear tire off of the 20. And let's go to Dave.
Slicing and dicing his way through lap traffic there at the end. Quite a show indeed for us from up above, but behind the wheel I'm sure as well. What was that like to give these fans a show here at Texas?
Yeah, that was a show. You know, we started off the race and we had a really fast race car, and everybody kind of caught up. You know, the 22 was really good, the 42 was really good. And we were down a little bit there on the tire situation at the end, but the GameStop Camry was good enough to hold them off. We just beat them off pit road on that green flag stop, and we were able to use a little bit of lap traffic to keep them behind us. But what a day. Just glad to finally get this thing back to victory lane. It's been a while since I've won a race, so glad to get another win here and do it again at Texas.
And I heard a few cheers out here for Erik Jones. You want to tell him thanks?
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I love the Texas crowd. I've come down here, had a lot of fun with you guys, so thank you.
They've seen him win twice this year, and of course he won every checkered flag here tonight, Rick.
From Byron, Michigan, but loved right here in Texas at Texas Motor Speedway. No Limits Texas. He was able to win stage 1, stage 2, and led 142 laps on his way to his second win in Texas in 2017. Elimination race coming up at Phoenix next week, and you look at where the points are. No one has secured a spot in the championship for Elliott Sadler, William Byron, Justin Allgaier, all at least 20 points above Matt Tifft back in 5th.
You're going to have a battle when we go to Phoenix. Look at that, 5 points away, Brennan, Poole, and Matt Tifft, and then Cole Custer, although not a great night, still a battle, a very good battle to keep himself in position.
And let's go down to Parker, who's caught up with Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler finishes 4th here at Texas after a very solid run, but you become the points leader, 29 points to the good as you head into Phoenix. Just a solid night overall for this one car.
Oh, man, I love these guys. Everybody at Junior Motorsports and Hendrick Engine Department give me such good race cars every week, and we came to Texas with a plan. We were trying some stuff this weekend to help us for Homestead, and Kevin and those guys made good adjustments all weekend. We were quick all weekend. Just got a lot of people here from Dale's PLL to support us. Also a lot of people here from Hunt Brothers Pizza and Armor. I'm just, man, living a dream. It was so much fun tonight. My car was really good. Just Erik and Blaney and those guys were so much better than me through 1 and 2. They got something figured out. I got to go to work before I come back next spring, but all in all, it was a great night for us.
What does this say about this one car as you go off to Phoenix and then eventually, hopefully, Miami? Are you guys feeling like you might be the championship favorite after tonight tonight?
Well, what makes me feel good, we got a car sitting at home exactly like this one. This was kind of a... Eddie's major fireworks. Eddie's going overboard tonight. We got a car sitting at home just like this one, and tonight was kind of a test for Homestead. So if we can run like this, if we make it through Phoenix, we know we got a chance. I'm just so proud of my team, and guys support me so well. So it's been a great day, and we'll definitely take this momentum and move on to Phoenix.
What's your confidence level heading to Phoenix? Do you like that racetrack?
I do. We ran good there in the spring. It's hey, if you look at my history, that's hit or miss. I've won there, run good there, but I've also probably lost 2 championships there, I reckon, as well. So at least we got a little bit of a buffer, but we know our car is going to be fast. That flange fit car we had at Dover was really good. So we'll go there and see what we got. But all in all, a great night for us. We're very proud of this, and we'll move on from here.
Very solid night for Elliott Sadler and this one team.
When you say the word solid, take a look at Erik Jones and the average finish, the best average finish at a track, Texas, 2.2. And now he's in victory lane. We go there with Marty.
I would say he's pretty good at this racetrack, Rick. Shredded left rear tire and all. Erik Jones has made his way to victory lane in the Lone Star State to celebrate with his team. Water everywhere, fireworks going off. 3 for 6 at this racetrack. You won half your races here in the Xfinity Series, Erik. What makes you so good at this particular place?
Man, I don't know. It's sure been a good racetrack to me, though. You know, from the old track to the repave now. It's just been a place I've enjoyed coming to, and the first time I came here in a truck, I'll never forget. I never thought I'd like the place, and ever since then, it's just kind of clicked for me. But a great GameStop Camry, Call of Duty, and Diamond on the car this weekend is pretty cool for veterans, but just excited to get back to victory lane. It's been a few months since I've grabbed a win, and 20 guys have gotten a win, so happy to get them back here. They brought fast cars now for the last month, and we just haven't found victory lane, so cool to get back here again, and just happy for these guys.
How tough was the lap traffic with the 22 catching you there at the end?
Well, it was tough. You know, it was, there's two ways to look at it, I guess. You know, is that, man, I can't believe this lap traffic's here, or I'm going to use this to my advantage, and I was trying my best to use it to my advantage, and there was times where he got hung up, there was times where I got hung up, but just a great day for the GameStop Camry. Racers, Hisense, Interstate batteries, JGR engines, the XFINITY series. Thank you guys. It's just, it's great to be back in victory lane.
I know you left Kansas disappointed. Does this make up for it a little bit?
Yeah, it does. You know, I wish we were celebrating 2 in a row right now with these guys, but you know, they did a really great job of recovering from that, taking a week off, bringing another fast race car, another dominant race car to the racetrack, and able to come out here and execute and finish it off.
His third win of 2017. He gets to celebrate it. Maybe his favorite place, Texas, Parker.
Ryan Blaney finished second, had some great runs on the 20 car of Erik Jones. And Ryan, it looked like as you guys caught traffic, you were able to get good runs, just never able to make the pass. What do you need to maybe beat that 20 car?
The second lane. That was so hard to pass all night. We were way faster than Erik there towards the end of that run before 4 pit stops, and we were faster than him there at the end by a good bit. And I was so loose getting into one, I couldn't get there to even get him loose to have a chance. He was really good at getting on the bottom and making it stay. So, and you know, lap cars almost hurt his night, and it hurt my night too. So I wish that would have played out a little bit better, but you know, what are you going to do? They're racing for their spot too. So I can't thank Discount Tire enough for letting me in it. Gosh, I really wanted to win. I thought our car was up to win, and I thought it had the pace to do it, and just needed to get out front. And that was the biggest thing. And they made a good call and got up front, and were able to hold us off. But hopefully we learn a little bit for tomorrow. But I got one more shot in this thing next week, so hopefully I can get these guys in victory lane.
I know you really wanted to win this race, but as you look ahead tomorrow, Sunday, you're in the Cup Series playoffs. Did you learn anything from today? What can you take to apply to tomorrow in that playoff race?
Yeah, I learned a little bit how the racetrack kind of went to, but being a night race, it's going to be really hot tomorrow, so I'm not really sure if we can apply much, but we'll do our best.
Thank Ryan Blaney and this team with a good run, and Ryan going to hopefully use some little lessons of how that track moved around to use in the Cup Series tomorrow.
Yeah, Parker, you could hear the disappointment. He's tired of finishing second to Erik Jones. It's the third time already this season that he's finished second to Erik Jones, but Jones will celebrate. We'll hear from more drivers when we return. They know how to celebrate in Texas. See the flames there in victory lane. Erik Jones, familiar because he was able to win in April in the Xfinity Series. So he swept the Texas races in the Xfinity Series, and now he's going to make the transition to the Monster Energy Cup Series tomorrow. But what did you guys see tonight that makes you look forward to tomorrow's race?
Well, first thing is it's good to have you back. With,
well, thanks. I mean,
departed for a little while.
I thought we were going to bring that up.
Well, he's here. It's
that's
obvious,
right.
But
it is obvious.
I think to be the racetrack. You think about this race. It's the only second time they've run on this racetrack, and we've seen repaves how the racing just hasn't been good. I didn't see that tonight. I saw exciting racing. The first two stages were a lot of fun. I was really impressed with the change of the racetrack. How that's going to impact tomorrow is going to be fun to watch.
And Rick, I thought we were going to leave here with a clear idea of whether track position or tires mattered the most. And you just heard Ryan Blaney mention how warm they expect it to be tomorrow for the Cup race. So that leans a little bit more towards tires. Tonight it was track position. So I'm not sure I know any more about what the pit strategy should be for tomorrow after watching tonight's race. But I saw some crew chiefs work very difficult. The 00 recovered. They had an issue. I thought there was a lot of good pit decisions, and really in the end, other than Ryan Reed's night, I thought most of the playoff contenders kind of performed where we thought they would end up.
Daniel Hemrick had an interesting weekend, to say the least, with a backup car. Let's hear from him. He was with Parker.
Daniel Hemrick finishes 14th after an up-and-down night and really an up-and-down weekend. You guys wrecked your primary car, got the backup out. It was fast, but the race was really kind of hit or miss. What did you guys need to challenge up front?
First off, I'm proud of these guys for getting this car ready and all the trials and stuff we had to overcome over the weekend, so thanks to them for that. But I don't know, even in qualifying, noticed that we're really struggling with the RPM side, just struggled with the motor pulling, and as soon as we took off an initial start, just really motor bog, and it just really felt that all night. And the balance really wasn't bad, so like I said, proud of those guys for getting that close. We just really struggled on the under the hood, so we had to go to work. I hate it for our guys, but we've been battling, we've been fighting all day, or all year really. We're just going to continue on, do the same things that we've done up to this point, and go race Phoenix.
As you look ahead to Phoenix, you're 18 points out of the cut line. What does this team need to do? What do you feel like you can do to go and make it into the championship four?
Just prepare. That's all you can do. Be as prepared as you can be. Go there, do your job. Try to stay on the pole and try to win the race. That's all you can do. I believe in these guys. I believe in all the heart and everybody on this Blue Gate Bank Chevy. Everybody at RCR is doing their job. We just got to make sure we bring our best bullet possible next week.
And I've been hearing from this team that they're very confident going to Phoenix. Feel like it's a great track for Daniel.
So for Cole Custer, a top 5 tonight, even after that flat tire early on. How would you describe your night?
It was interesting. It was hectic for sure. I mean, there's just nothing you can do about that. I mean, 2 weeks in a row we just ran something over. But, I mean, it is what it is. We had a really fast Austin Mason Mustang. I can't say anything about everybody at the shop and everybody at Rush 8's engines. Car was unbelievable. I think we could have definitely been a top 3 car or so if we just had some track position there at the end. But we were we did a really good job coming back for it. We made smart decisions, ran our race how we wanted to. So I'm happy. I'm looking forward to Phoenix. I think we'll have a good run.
I was thinking about the start of that race again, and I mean, how tempting was it to just come down immediately and not try to science it out? It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was really bad, but it was something that I had to feel it out for a few laps because you really don't want to put yourself in a hole like that. But we were lucky for it not to go completely down and really ruin our day. But we did a really good job coming back from it. Nobody freaked out, so I think it was best you can do in that situation.
Nice comeback today for Cole.
And I'm here with Justin Allgaier in a disappointing night, finishing 11th. Justin, I know you were just talking about that car, and it seemed like you guys were maybe a 10th place car, but you said it just didn't have the speed you wanted.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. All year we've had great speed, and everybody back at Junior Motorsports does a great job, the Hendrick engine department, and our Camaros have been fast. And unfortunately tonight, for whatever reason, our DeGreedy owner Chevy just didn't want to go as fast as I wanted it to, and we battled track position a little bit, but the pit crew did great. The guys made great adjustments. It just wasn't meant to be tonight. So we're still ahead on the points of the gap. Not the finish that we wanted tonight, but we go to Phoenix, which is one of my favorite racetracks, and we got a great shot at going there and having a good night. So looking forward to that, but huge thanks to all the fans that came out tonight. Hopefully everybody at home enjoyed watching on the Xfinity service, and huge thanks to them for all they do for this sport. And we just keep plugging away, man. We didn't have it tonight, so we go to next week and try to have it and hopefully be good for Homestead.
Just now on this team, very confident heading to Phoenix. They won there earlier this year, Dave.
Well, William Byron ended up 9th, and we heard you kind of scratching your head during the race as to what was going on with the car. Did you guys ever figure anything out?
No, we couldn't get it to
to go after 15 or 20 laps. But I think you know, we had something to start. I felt really good about it going into the race, and the first run was good. Then we had a couple cycles on our tires, and it just kind of went away and stayed that way the rest of the race. So we'll figure it out. But you know, we're going to some good racetracks coming up, so that's good for us, and hopefully we can just rebound and run really strong at Phoenix.
Just say, take me back to your days in the trucks, in the K&N, and whatever you want to at Phoenix. How confident are you going into that race?
Yeah, really confident. You know, we'd like to have a little buffer, but you know, it is what it is. It's part of this deal. So, you know, I know our Liberty University Chevy is going to be good there, and we're good there in the spring. So hopefully we can just rebound from this run and kind of go there and hopefully lead some laps and win the race.
Disappointing tonight. He'll be back next week.
Next week will be the last race, an elimination race for the Xfinity Series, but the Monster Energy Cup Series still have to take on Texas Motor Speedway. Only one driver is already locked into the Championship 4. That's Kyle Busch. The remaining 7 all fighting for a position in the Championship 4 in Miami. We'll talk Cup when we come back.
You got 2 or 3 cars that are so much better than everyone else on the mile and a half that this is your race to get it done.
Ben Fender's hurt feelings. I love it.
You know what they call racing? That's bull. Keselowski all the way to the wall. Gonna run you up.
The bumper to the back of the 24.
Oh, I just wrecked it. Bag.
You see the 24 showing his displeasure and how he was raced.
Everybody was doing the exact same thing. Definitely 100% unnecessary and uncalled for.
And the intensity picks up after Martinsville. This will be the second race of the round.